everyone. Welcome back to Simplifying Life with Kashira. Today, I have the privilege of hosting someone really special. My former boss and mentor, Ritesh Arya, whom I fondly call Ritesh Boss. He has had an illustrious career spanning over 24 years, if I'm not mistaken, there, with industry leaders like Infosys, IBM, WNS, and currently with FIS as an associate director. I am so excited, so happy, and truly grateful to have the opportunity to reconnect and learn from him once again. Ritesh Boss, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Kashira, for having me here. And it's really a good opportunity for me. I always wanted to be part of a podcast or maybe again a interview panel. But again, this is one of the things that, and I've been following you. I've been telling you that I've been following your show, and you're doing an amazing job, Kashira. I must tell you that.
Thank you so much, Ritesh Boss. It means so much. And I have to say, I'm sure you can see in his background, he's used my backdrop. And I'm like, I feel so grateful and so excited that with a person that you worked for so many years and you get on call with them and this is what they do. Thank you so much. I'm truly grateful for you doing that.
No, absolutely, Kashira. So as I told you that again, it's one token of appreciation or maybe a thanks that I can convey to the person again who invited me to the show and the thing that you've been doing in terms of maybe passing on those positive messages as well as I would say telling the principles how to lead the life in a simplified manner. Again, it's like kudos to you and just a small token of thanks on that.
Before I really dive in and get further into our conversation, could you share a little about where you are in life right now? How are things going for you? And would you say you're in a happy place at this stage of your journey?
Absolutely. So again, as you started with the introduction, I've been into the corporate world for almost 24 years now. Worked with big logos, and again started the career again with a BPO BPM sector, and then moved into with all the mergers and acquisition that happened with the big brand logos. Uh, so I would say again today, if I look back, though again I started with one portion of I would say the stream that I always wanted to be in. Started with operations, moved into process training, learning and development, performance reporting, and that was a stint again we had together and we worked together in IBM. And then
Yeah.
again shifted my thing in terms of the career towards the quality stream. So that was one thing that I always wanted to do. It always attracted me, but I was very clear, and that's what when I discuss with anyone, I always talk about this thing that if you have a thing in mind and if you aspire to reach somewhere, at least work towards that. So I clearly remember 2007 is where I started my journey with quality, where I started with my certifications. And till date, again, if I talk about the quality certification, it's like 360 degrees that I work towards that. And today, as again you said, am I good? Am I happy? I am really happy of what I've achieved till date. Again, from maybe the learning and the certification perspective, the things I'm doing today, it's what I always wanted to do, and I'm really satisfied. So being content is one thing that I always yearn towards, and I'm really happy to be where I am today.
That's quite impressive. 24 years. Did I say the numbers right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. How does it feel? I mean, I heard you saying that you are content, but has it ever felt at any point in time that it's getting too much, or maybe you should aspire to do something else? I'll tell you from where I'm coming, because I've seen so many people due to the, I would say, unreliability of jobs in corporate sector. People want to pursue some side business, some other venture to have that stability in the mind that what if this job kicks me at some point in time, I'll have something of my own. And I've seen a lot of people getting into that segment these days. What do you think about it? Have you ever tried or thought about any such thing in your career of 24 years?
Frankly speaking, I always wanted to be part of a big corporate, a big organization where I can sit on a chair and a table and then do the work as the folks have been doing. Again, from a corporate perspective. Now, if I talk about have I adjusted well and how I adjusted to it, I always have one mantra in place. So when you're working, either you love it or you just keep it aside. So my thing was that I always loved the work that I've been doing. Right from the start, I never had a feeling, because see, when you're working, you need to gain that expertise, you need to gain that understanding, and create a value within what exactly you're doing within an organization. One, the thought process, the work that you're doing need to be aligned with the objectives. So it should not be a case that I have my own agenda when I'm working. I need to align my work ethics. I need to align the kind of work that I'm doing with the objective and the benefits and the details that the organization looks for today. And once you are in line, you work towards the things, and that's where and everything follows. So like I would say things fall in place if you again aspire towards that. So those are things that I followed till date in terms of working on a thing. If I don't know it, I've again put in the efforts to learn it. Any opportunity I came across, as I said that again, I've worked with almost all the streams within a BPO BPM world. So any
Yeah.
opportunity I got, I just picked it up and I worked towards that. So it was never a feeling that maybe again it was kind of an insecurity kind of a thing, because I
Mhm.
always knew that I can work hard. I can again work towards the thing. If I don't know
Mhm.
it, I don't shy of again asking people or taking help on that particular thing. But one thing need to be very clear, that you need to move forward. Never again, even if there is a feeling, and there are like point in times where I felt that again I'll just leave the things aside, or things are not going good, and there are like circumstances in the time within life where you get into that zone. But at the end of the day, I always, again, as I said, that the things were very clear that I need to work towards a goal. I have a goal again in terms of maybe working for a logo, for a organization, and the objectives were very clear. So till date, again, frankly speaking, all the organization I've worked with, the insecurity part was like 1 or 2 days. But when you have the feeling that you need to put in the efforts to come up to a momentum, and then again, it's just like business as usual.
Is there any piece of advice you'd like to share with the people who are kind of juggling between both their ventures? They don't want to leave their jobs because definitely that's a source of income and they can't just lose on it. And then they want to have that job to have that kind of stability in their mind. So, one thing that I understood from you is that if you have that clear goal, nothing bothers. There'll always be good time, bad times, or even the worst time. But if you're clear, you'll just keep moving. So, is there anything else that you can add and tell to these people who are going to listen to us?
Sure, Kashira. So specifically, as I said, that again, the goal need to be clear. One need to understand what they want to do in life, and then
Mhm.
again, on a piece of paper, just do a pros and cons study, and that's what I always do. If there is like a kind of decision making that need to be done, if there are
Mhm.
things that I need to understand or I need to work towards, I always do a pros and cons study in terms of what's in it for me and what will I get. So at the end of the
Yeah.
day, what exactly I'll get from that particular venture. So as you said that if again there is a dilemma in between two portion where I need to maybe stay in the job, or I need to pursue a venture that an individual wants to pursue for a long time, take a decision. Just do a pros and cons study. There would be difficulty even in the organization. Today again, there are times where you need to stretch for like 16 to 17 hours a day. I'm supporting like multiple geographies, and depending on the time zone, I need to adjust my working timings. But at the end of the day, do I enjoy it? Yes, I do that, because that's the pros and cons study I did. I knew that that would happen. I would encounter these situations, but am I willing to accept that? If yes, obviously the gains are that obviously you get that recognition, you get those accolades, you get that financial output again that you are looking for at the end of the day. If there is a
Yeah.
venture, go for it. Do your pros and cons study, get into it. Even in the jobs, there are risks. There might be a risk again for a 1 or 2 months or maybe 6 months initially. But if you are ready to accept those cons with your process, go for it. That's what I tell everyone. But first, prepare yourself. Do not get into a thing without understanding. As I said that even if I've grabbed an opportunity within an organization at a particular level, I first learned about the organization. I've learned about the job I'm doing. I've again deep dive into every process and procedure before supporting any client. So
Yeah.
one need to be prepared, a prep need to be done. I'll be frank with you again. Even coming before onto this particular show, I prepped myself that these would be the questions that would be coming in. Am I prepped enough again to answer those questions or not? It can be anything, but at least someone, or I would say everyone, need to prep on things, whatever thing you are doing. Then again, you'll never fail, or you'll not again go out of the line that you have defined for yourself. That's my message for everyone.
Absolutely. And that is a really powerful message that,
Thank
first of
you.
all, until you don't find your why, don't jump around boats. So you really need to be clear on your why. And I think I've spoken on this subject to a couple of my past guests as well, that how important it is to find your why. And that is also related with one of the Japanese techniques. I think it's called as ikigai.
Yeah.
So one segment is finding your why and how important it is. So you clearly shed the light on that part, that if you're that passionate and you know that is your why, just go for it. Thank you so much for adding your thoughts on that.
You're welcome.
Ritesh Boss, I'm going to put you on spotlight and sorry for that.
No problems.
I
Please go ahead.
I would love to hear your thoughts on work life balance. So, it is a topic, it is too frequently discussed everywhere globally. And so, this has been my observation. In India, particularly, I have seen that people often work extra hours, regardless of their title. Whether this is somebody like junior in the profile or somebody really senior, they do that. They put in extra efforts, extra hours, and this is mostly driven by the feeling of fear to secure their job, to remain relevant in their boss's eyes, or to prove their worth. And unfortunately, this comes at the cost of their personal time and well being. What do you think about it? Have you ever been in that scenario? You felt that you are compromising on your personal time?
Frankly speaking, Kashira, I'll go back to the previous thing again that you ended with, the EK guy part of the life. If I have something that I love to do, okay, I'll never feel that I'm stressed. So at the end of the day, when we talk about work-life balance, and this is my experience of the 24 years again working within the corporate, it's about us. Have I defined that? I would say the line in between and the timeline in between what I need to deliver. So if I
Mhm,
know that I'm working for a particular objective, I would know
mhm,
that it would take some time. I need to balance it out. So there is nothing like work life balance. It's about, am I balancing my things properly or not? It's all about prioritization. One,
mhm,
and you would have heard about that anecdote in terms of that you have a glass jar and then you have small stones and a big stone into it, and then you put in a sand, and that is where you keep on looking for. So it's all about your thinking. Now, if you
mhm,
think that I have a work to do and then I have to again go out for a movie with my family, do I need to prioritize? It's not about prioritization, it's about planning. So if I know that
mhm,
I need to go out with the family, I have a weekend
mhm,
in place. I have,
mhm,
maybe I have my leaves and take it. There are people again who feel guilty in terms of taking leaves. That again, if I'll take a leave, I don't know what my boss would think about it. At the end of
mhm,
the day, see, even we are working with human beings. There are like, and that's my thought process, Kashira. Some people would not agree to it, but at the end of the day, when we talk about that, again from a work-life balance perspective, or maybe a good boss or a bad boss perspective, there are
mhm,
people who exist with whom maybe I or individual cannot work. But at the end
mhm,
of the day, when we think about it, even we are working with a human being, even they have a boss they are reporting into, even they have an objective to achieve. Have I
mhm,
aligned my objective with my bosses or my superiors? Now, if
mhm,
we have a common objective in terms of, so let's say, for example, for a particular quarter, I have a revenue or a profit target. That's a target for my boss and for me too. If I
mhm,
think that it's only for my boss, I'll only work
mhm,
for like defined shift, and again, we'll be able to achieve the targets. No, it won't never happen. One,
mhm,
I need to prioritize, I need to plan properly. There would
mhm,
be a times where maybe if you have a client in town and you have a marriage or maybe a wedding function to attend within a family, you need to
mhm,
prioritize. Okay, but at the end of the day, it can be managed. It can be a thing
mhm.
where you define that particular expectation. Many a times the thing fails where we don't define the expectation. As I
Mm-hmm.
said, that we are working with human beings. If I
Mm-hmm.
clearly tell that, okay, I have a wedding in the family, I know the clients are in town, but let's
Mm-hmm.
plan it out properly. In the morning, maybe from a 9 to 6, I'll be with the client. I know again there is a dinner planned in the evening. I'll not be able to
Mm-hmm.
attend it because I want to attend that wedding. I have planned it
Mm-hmm.
properly. Now I have
Mm-hmm.
balanced everything, and that's where the balance comes into play. So it's not work-life balance. It's about how I'm balancing everything in my life, be it personal, be it professional. First,
Mm-hmm.
stop feeling guilty about taking leaves, taking breaks, being with yourself. It's necessary because if I'm not giving that time to myself, I'll never be
Mm-hmm.
able to analyze the thing. As I said, that I always do a pros and cons study. If I'm not
Mm-hmm.
halting in between, and that's one of the message in one of your communication video where you talked about that whenever you need to express your thoughts, take time to process within your brain and then again add those words out of your mouth. So
Yeah.
those are things, again, we know it, but many a times because we get into that guilt zone, so planning need to be done and you'll automatically create that work life balance. So there are like things where if you want to avoid a thing and you are putting all the hours into the work, or maybe you want
Mm-hmm.
to avoid the work and you're putting all the hours into your personal life, obviously there would be an imbalance. So
Yeah.
one, love what you do. Okay. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't love it, look out for a thing that you love. So which means
Yeah.
that if today I don't want to do something, I need to look out for a thing what I want to do. So it's about me. It's about my ikigai. Have I found that ikigai today? Yes, because I love what I do. I don't love the organization. I don't love in terms of that I'm stuck with something, but I love the work that I do. And I'm really proud of it in terms of that I have my defined activities, I have my defined plans, basis which I work. Because I
Mm-hmm.
know even if I fail somewhere, or even if I'm not able to balance something, I've set that expectations clearly, be it with my
Yeah.
family or be it at my professional place. So that's my thought process.
Yeah. No, I really liked your thought process and what you said about planning it well and setting the expectations right. So two core things that I understood from what you said. Uh, I also feel that one, if you are sitting in that chair, a chair that is powerful enough, people may not come back and say anything to you, and they may not dare. Okay, I'm using that particular word. They may not dare to hijack your plan. However, if you're sitting in some chairs which are not that as much powerful, okay, even if you are very particular about planning your own things, planning your work and everything, and you know that you're working in a 9 hour shift, even 10 or 11, whatever it is, and you have done your job, you've given 200% to your 10 hours of job. But when there is a time to wind up, and then your bosses, they may just reach out to you. Maybe you're leaving early, or maybe you've not done this thing, or for whatsoever reason. And I have seen these things happening literally on the ground with people that they've given the full shift. And I think when your shift ends, because work never ends, there'll always be work, and that is a good thing, right? There should be work, and that's how we all will be employed. That is a great thing to have. At the same time, I feel that this is a top down culture wherein people from top should be able to understand that when the person's shift has ended, they've got the right to just go off. Okay. And of course, as an executive, as an employee, it is your responsibility to share some summary of the updates or everything, whatever is a starter, so that your people are aware. But you have the right to log off at your shift hours because only then you can transition to your personal life. They
Absolutely.
cannot be a holiday in your personal life or holiday in a family that, okay, no, today I'm going to give more time. So it's a chutti, a holiday for my family. I'll have no time for you. We can't do that. There has to be a very solid balance between what I'm doing at work and what I'm doing at my home. That's important. But as I told you that, when your chair is not that powerful, you're always at a high risk wherein your people will come and will hijack your plan, and they'll make you feel that you've done something wrong by logging off exactly at your shift end time.
No,
So
I get
that
your point,
that is
Kashira. Yeah.
something, Ritesh Boss, I find it very hard to digest. And this is the culture that I've seen in India. I mean, I really don't want to put any companies in the name. I have worked with more or less similar organizations you have been, with all due respect, because I feel that this is a huge change which India needs in corporate life. A lot of people are suffering.
No, absolutely. I agree with you. So one thing again, as and I'll go back to the previous thing again I talked about. Setting up expectations and defining clear timelines is very, very important, Kashira. One thing, the self guilt that we create in ourselves, that again, I'm logging off at the end of the shift and
Yeah.
something would happen, and again, I'll be made responsible for it. It's okay, it's part of life. One thing we need to understand very clearly, and
Mm-hmm.
that's an anecdote I want to quote out here. See, nothing would stop. As you said, work would never finish. The world would move on. Today, if
Yeah.
something happens to an individual, let's say again, my life ends today, okay? Nobody would come to the thing, and again, my name would change to a body, that okay, the body is out there. So I've
True.
lost everything around me. So I should not care about everything. I cannot control everything. First thing, I need to define what is controllable, what is uncontrollable. If I have
Yeah.
made the plans at the end of the shift and again I'm moving out, I should not have that self guilt in me. I need to go there. I've already set the expectation that I need to
Yeah.
go out there. I've already informed. Best thing is to keep everything informed, and you'll find people again who will not agree to it. Trust me. As you said,
Mm-hmm.
that people in the power center, maybe on a leadership position or maybe on a chair where they are taking a decision, they might like it, or again, and I've been again from a ground level to a leadership level, again taking these calls or maybe taking those decisions. But at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, I was very clear in a way that I'm not leaving my work aside. I have tomorrow to come. Maybe again, I'll reach up to her tomorrow or not, but that's the plan I have. That's the defined
Mm-hmm.
guidelines I have. That's the to do I've added to my life. And I'll ensure
Mm-hmm.
that I'll finish. And I am well aware of the timeline.
Mm-hmm.
So thing is that I need to create that expectation very clearly. If I'll not do it, it would keep on happening. It might
Mm-hmm.
happen once, it might happen second, it can be adjusted. But at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, if I'm not setting up those guidelines or if I'm not setting up those expectations, it would be repeated one after the. And that's where I would say the mental stress starts creeping in into the individual's mind, and
Yeah.
it need to be freed. And as you said, that it's the problem that many of us or many of the folks around us are facing, but be vocal about it. There was a time where and when, that's the time when I started my career, and it's nothing against the organization or something, but it was
Mm-hmm.
more of my personality that I'll not speak it. Okay, I'll sit on a side, I'll work. If there's
Mm-hmm.
overtime, I'll get into it. But that
Mm-hmm.
was a time and that was the age where I was trying to create that maybe space for myself within a particular organization. But at the
Mm-hmm.
end of the day, with the flow and with the learning around, okay,
Mm-hmm.
we need to realize that the world would not stop, the organization would keep on moving. So we need to live for ourselves too. So that's
True.
my message.
No, that's a very powerful message, and I echo with every word that you said. That people will always, pounce upon, and they'll ask you to do things, whatever they have in their crazy minds. But until you set the expectations right, there's nothing that you can expect them to do because you haven't spoken.
Absolutely.
So it may not go well in the first communication, not in the second, but till the time you keep setting the expectations right and you keep communicating that, okay, this is what goes with me, this is what is not acceptable to me. They will have to get back in line. Now, having said that, I'll have to be really honest with you here. Uh, so I've had this huge career of, almost 2 decades. I was not always like this when I started my journey, not even in the middle career. And when I started my career, I was like always, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, whatever is asked. Because as a newbie, you're too scared, right? You're too scared of people, intimidated with some hi fi setup and really well spoken people. I used to be scared of them, I'll be honest with you. And there were many things which I didn't like. For example, there was a team once I worked in, and people were in habit of working towards the end hours, or the leaders giving the works towards the time your shift is ending, knowing that her
Mhm.
shift is ending, but people used to just add on work, and without giving the rationale of how you will complete the work. As a team leader, it is your responsibility that I know your shift is ending and this work is too much, maybe do this and do the later tomorrow. That's how a good leader works, that you see the time span as well, but they just need to add it. And I've never spoken a word. When I look back, I feel I wish I would have said something. So One thing to all the people who are starting their careers, and I know how intimidating it could be. So, from me and from Ritesh Boss, our combined suggestions or thoughts would be that it's okay to be respectful to people and their decisions and their thoughts, but there is no level of title or seniority that you need to communicate what you believe in. And I feel that I've learned it too late. I feel that everybody is equal, whether you just started your job and you are 1 day old, or you've spent decades in the organization and you're the CEO or some senior, C-level executive. So everybody is equal and everybody needs to get that same amount of respect. You cannot discount on the respect because I've just started the job. And I feel when you consider yourself at that level, you feel that I can say and I can share my thoughts and I can also take decisions for me. So I think that is something I'd really like to recommend people. And if there's anybody who's still going through such thing, please speak up. Please set the expectations. Otherwise, there's nobody who's going to come and, pull you out and sort the things for you.
And just
We
to
are
add,
the masters.
absolutely, Kashira. And just to add, I'm sorry to interrupt, but just to add my 2 cents to it.
Mhm.
Today, and I've seen the youngsters around. I've been working with like all the ages in terms of, again, the profile I carry today. But at the end of the day, what I've felt and what I've seen is the fear of unknown. So
Yeah.
we create that mental pressure on our head that I'm starting a career, I need to prove myself. You don't need to make everyone happy. So, as I said
Hmm.
again, we are no one to make or say yes to everything. Even if we are doing it, stop doing that, because at the end of the day, we need to realize that as you said, that there are like equal position within the organization. There are
Yeah.
like the people officers or the human resources again that have those clear policies and guidelines, and we need to know about it. At the end
Yeah.
of the day, the power of communication is that if I have not spoken, nobody would hear that. I need to pull up that word out of my heart, out of my brain, out of myself to ensure that I at least tried. And I agree with you, there would be individuals who would not agree to it. There would be individuals who would not understand. But have I tried?
Hmm.
There would be fear of unknown, that, and every time, and it's kind of a said rule, even from a power of subconscious mind. Again, if I add an anecdote from there, that nobody would know till the time you speak about it, and your
Yeah.
words are powerful enough to communicate what you want. So start
Yeah.
doing that. Sitting aside, and always the fear of unknown would be negative, it would never be positive. So, for
Hmm.
example, if I need to speak to someone, whether the person would agree or not, my mind would tell me no, the person would not agree.
Yeah.
So I need to program my mind. My subconscious mind would never allow me to succeed. I need to tell my mind that I can do that. So I
Yeah.
know, again, people would be saying that he's been in corporates and he's sitting at a level and that's where he's yapping around with the gyan of the world. But at the end of the day, these are things that I've lived throughout my life. As said, I started my career, and at the end of the day, when the person I was at that moment in time, the person I am today, that's the learning again of these 24 years, that you
Yeah.
need to speak up. The power of communication is immense. You need to understand that. And at any point in time, today, if you're not speaking, it's okay. Maybe you want to learn it a hard way, it's your choice. Or
Yeah.
you might be again picking up from my experience or my words and then just try it out. At least
Yeah.
start with once. If you like
Yeah.
it, go for it. If not, let's learn more and then again get into that. That's
Yeah.
my understanding of life.
Yeah. No, that's very true. And to add to that, one final thing on this discussion, I felt that for me personally, I became confident in speaking up my mind, especially in corporate and to senior people, and in setting the expectations right, the day I got rid of the fear of losing job.
True.
Otherwise, now when I look back, I realize I've always been saving my job, that, maybe they'll check me out, or how will I survive? How will I get the money? The day I got rid of that thought, I don't know, I just became super confident, from my level, from my perspective. I was just like, I can say whatever I feel. And I enjoy that freedom. I enjoy that freedom because there's no stopping you.
Hmm. True.
And we as an individual, we need to give value to our thoughts, to our decision making. And just take the decision. I know sometimes it is very risky, especially when people are with their families. They've got kids to, send school, family to run. They're at high risk that how will I survive? There's no other earning member. But still, if you're a person with talent, I feel that you'll definitely find your way. If somebody is taking your job on some wrong note or anything, there's some positive energies are out there. I'm a huge believer of energies, by the way.
Absolutely.
So there's some positive energy will always get you where you deserve and where you'll be respected. So just come out of that shackle and stop thinking that if you'll not do this, you'll lose the job. Just be firm on what you believe in and say it. You will start loving every moment you spend anywhere. So
Absolutely.
I love that
Absolutely.
freedom.
No, no, absolutely. I completely agree with you. See, the problems would never get over. So, as again in statistics and quality, you say that there need to be variations in the data. Then
Yeah.
again, you'll be able to solve it. Today, if it's a straight line, even the life doesn't exist. We
Mhm.
need those zigzag lines in the monitor to ensure that the life is on. So the problems
Mhm.
would always be there. There would be a fear of unknown. But at the end of the day, you need to program your mind. You need to keep on telling yourself that I can do it. I have a thing.
Yeah.
There would be a thing that one day it is not with me, but tomorrow again the sun would shine and I'll be back to my thing. Fear would always be there, but you need to
Yeah.
overcome it. And on this note, again, I want to add one of the dialogues from one of my favorite movies, Rocky Balboa, where uh, Sylvester always used to say that world is a very mean place. It will bring you to your knees. So it's not about how hard you can hit. It's all
Yeah.
about how hard you can get hit and still move on. So at the end of the day, prepare yourself to face those challenges. It would always be there. You cannot escape it. Even if
Yeah.
again you'll close your eyes, the line would always be there. So it's better to
True.
face it rather than again running from it. It would always be there. Just enjoy it. As simple as that.
Wow. That's so true. And speaking of fears, as we all know, fear is part of our journeys, and we all somewhere get stuck with the fear and do not move ahead with whatever we want to pursue in life, especially when navigating the uncertainties of life. Has there been any moment or any moment or any story that you could pick up and share with us, somewhere where fear took a hold on you and you didn't do what you wanted to?
So maybe I'll go back like 25, 30, 35 years back when again I was starting my career. I was not again clear about what I wanted to do. So there was a point in time again I was pursuing my CA foundation, though I cleared it, and but I always had in mind that again I want to do something in a technical field. So there was a fear in mind that I'll clear it or not. But and how would I tell my father that I've got into this particular stream and now I want to change it? And
Hmm.
that's the deal. And as I said, that fear of unknown was always there. But at the end
Hmm.
of the day, I sat with my father. I told him that though I'm doing it, but I'm not enjoying it. At the end of
Hmm.
the day, I want to do something which I want to do, which I enjoy to do. And that's where he said that, okay, it's okay. Though we have put in a fees out there, I'm okay to support it out. And I'm really thankful to God for having parents again who trusted in me at that moment in time. I went into, and again, I left my chartered accountancy. I moved into the technical field. I did my software engineering, and that was kind of a start of my career in terms of getting into the technical field. Today, the clarity I carry, and I would say the gain I have taken again from right from 2001 when I started my career with BPM to 2024. I at least know what I'm doing. I'm very clear about the technical stuff, the architecture that I've learned. If I would have not taken that decision that moment in time, okay, I would have not got into the thing today I'm sitting on. So it's very, I would say, the thought process need to be very clear. If you are not liking it, please don't do it. No, we are not a tree. We can move. So just move on. At least try it out. People would not hear you. At least try it out. Try it on multiple times. One point in time, at least you'll get to a level where you'll be doing what you want to do. As simple as that. If again you'll just avoid it, the things would go away. Opportunities only come once. Either you take it or you avoid it. As simple as that. So there are point in time again where there are uncertainties, but as I started the discussion with that, you need to do your pros and cons study, and you need to love what you do. If you're not loving it, you'll not be able to do it. As simple as that.
Is there any fear now in your life that might be holding you back from something that you must be thinking that, oh, I wish I can do that? Any such thing?
I had fears initially, Kashira. Today, again, uh, maybe with the way age or maybe the maturity again that I've gained throughout these years, I'm kind of content today. Content in
Mhm,
terms of, see, your thought in terms of getting onto an achievement or
mhm,
achieving something would never stop. You reach up
mhm,
to a level, obviously, I create those the big plans for me every time I reach up to a level. So it's not that I'm stopping myself, it's not that
mhm,
I don't want to move forward, but at the end
mhm,
of the day, I want to be at a content place too, otherwise I'll keep on moving into it. So at the end of the day, whenever I create a plan, I know that I need to learn.
mhm.
One thing that I've always targeted towards is whatever I'm doing, I need to be best in that. So be it a perfectionist you call, or maybe again, if I don't know it, I'll just run towards that. There was a coach again in within statistics again, and that's the time where I was doing my Six Sigma and Lean, and it took like 3 to 4 months. The course was 3 to 4 months. I took 9 months to learn that. It's not that I was not understanding it. It's just that I wanted to have that mastery in that. Today, at the end of the day, I'm proud, and I always say that this is a subject I can yap around for hours because I have put in lots of effort, put in lots of time to learn that, and that is what we need to do. So if I know a stuff, I'm very confident in that. And to know it, you need to learn it. You need to spend time. You need to put in that effort to get more details and information to it. So from a fear perspective and from I would say the need of that achievement, it's there, but the fear is not there because I know that as you said that once you lose that fear of losing a job, is you are in a freedom zone, and I'm out here. I know I can work long hours, and it's not that I'm like boasting about myself that putting in long hours is good or I'm promoting that. No, it's not. But at the end of the day, I know that I can put in the efforts because I would love what I do, and then I don't see how much time it takes. So if
Yeah.
I can put in the efforts to learn the things, I can put in the efforts to put in those extra hours to
Mhm.
do that job. I know I can work anywhere. So if again today I lose a job in any organization, I know I'll get it somewhere. If not, I know I'm capable enough to do something on my own. And as you said, that the power or maybe the power of influence of those auras around us is again give you that positivity that, and one need to have that confidence in oneself. If you'll start doubting yourself, your mind would keep on pushing you, that your subconscious mind, and I believe in it a lot. Okay, I read this
Yeah.
book in 2002, and till date I carry that thought, and I'm a firm believer of it. If you'll keep on telling yourself that you're negative, you'll not be able to do it. Trust me, you'll never be able to
Not.
do it. So
Yeah.
every time I have a thing in place, I have an opportunity, I'll do it. I want to do it,
Yeah.
and I'll do it. How much time it takes, how much effort it takes, I'll put in that effort. And that's where again that fear goes off.
I recall once you told me something that stayed with me, and I still quote it whenever I have a conversation with people. Of course, as I mentioned, I was very scared of and intimidated by people, though I knew how to speak in English, but I was very scared, a lot of self doubt. I came to you asking about it because I was really impressed by your communication skills, and I came to you that what I could do because sometimes I speak good and sometimes I fumble or I get scared. So you told me one thing that Kashira, English or speaking English, it's a foreign language. First of all, accept that. Second, the more you stay in touch with the language, the more the language stays with you. And that thing stayed with me till date because that's so true. So when I speak to people, and especially people who are looking to speak publicly, so they get stuck there. And I tell them this thing that you have to get used to your fear. And if your fear is speaking to people, then you have to speak as much as you can. So get you used to it. And you get over that fear of what will happen, how will it happen, whether I'll make mistakes and all those stuff. So I think what you said decades ago, that that is so much of power. Maybe I didn't understand at that time, but I know how powerful it was. That you really have to stay in touch with the language. So, on that note, I want to understand from you one, what do you do to keep up your communication skills? Number two, as you said that you have to stay in touch. So do you do any activity to make sure that you are flawless? How do you navigate this situation? What do you keep to stay relevant in terms of English communication?
Great. So I'll go back to the time again when I started my career, or maybe again I'll go back to my academics time again. During the school, I got, and that's basically the time of the farewell, my 12th standard. I got the title like silent onlooker. So I was kind of a totally introvert kind of a guy. Never used to speak to anyone, and even from a communication perspective, never put in the efforts at that point in time to improve it. It's the time, and I'm fortunate again the people or the mentors I came across and I worked with. Initially, again when I joined IBM, and that's like going back to 2001. I was part of operations, and again, I was part of one of the transitioning. Again, went to US, transitioned the process out here, and I got an opportunity to move into training. And as I said, that if there is an opportunity, I'll grab it, and then I'll work towards that. I grabbed that opportunity. My first day facing 25 people and telling them the product that I was very well aware of, I just blanked out. So it's not that right from day one you need to have a right or a good communication. It takes effort. There was a time where I had my mentors in place at that one time who gave me the feedback that it's not that you don't know the thing, it's just that you need to learn how to articulate that. So that was
Yeah.
the time, and the thing that I communicated to you, that you need to be in touch with the language. I started reading
Yes.
English newspapers. I started watching English movies. I
Mhm.
started reading English books, and that
Mhm.
is where again the vocab that you get, or the words that you get, or you get into that pronunciation mode. Many a times again when we speak and we think about, just don't think that. See, people need to speak about something at every point in time again, and it can be you, it can be anyone. So first thing is just work towards that. Get in touch with the language, be with the language always. So I ensure that starting the day again, I'll ensure that I'll read an English newspaper. I need to have that vocab. I'll at least read 5 to 10 pages of a book, okay, at any point in time when I'm ending my day. And I
Mhm.
ensure, see, at the end of the day, it's more of the exposure that you have with the language. You start doing it with Hindi, you'll get proficiency in Hindi. You start doing it with a particular language, you'll start getting proficiency out there. And then I was fortunate again, since I was supporting multiple geos, I was like interacting with almost all the individuals in English language across the world. So that gave
Mhm.
me that exposure. And then obviously you need to put in the efforts to keep on just rehearsing the thing that you are doing. And any point in time when you are attending a meeting, or you are going in a meeting, make sure you prep something about it.
Yeah.
Just anticipate the question that would come up. Trust me, that gives you that confidence. Okay, just take a deep breath. If you are prepped, get into a meeting, face it, and just talk. You need to talk. Then don't think about anything. Today, coming to your podcast again, if you remember when we were communicating on the messages, I told you that I've not faced the camera for quite
Yeah.
some time, so I don't know how again I would be able to communicate. But when you get into the groove, as I said, that I prepped myself for the good, that these would be the questions that would be coming in, and I'm prepped again. I can do it, and I have that again proficiency in terms of understanding the question and then answering it. So that's
Yeah.
the thing, you need to keep on pushing yourself to learn. Just be in touch with the language every point in time. Just keep on refreshing, getting new words. Speak to the people in English. You might be wrong one time, two time, three time, 100 times, but 101st or 110 time you will be correct. Trust me. But
Mhm.
it takes time. It will not happen in one day, but you
Yeah.
need to be determined, as simple as that. So 24 years initially, again, you talk about the people who worked with me initially, they'll always say that this was a guy who used to make lots of grammatical mistake. His
Mhm.
pronunciation was not at all clear. The words he
Yeah.
used to use, he was a process trainer, and again, he never used to pronounce the word correctly. So
Mhm.
that's the feedback that you'll get. But as compared to 2024, obviously, you need to work towards that. That then again, the confidence would come up that you can communicate with anyone. across the world in any language again. And if you're proficient in one which is like globally accepted, nothing like that.
True. Very true. You mentioned that you are in habit of reading books. Is there any book that you have on top of your mind that you can recommend our viewers? Maybe on communication or in general, anything that can help them out?
So one book again that I've read like close to 10 to 12 times in my life, Kashira. Again, I'll go back to
Mhm.
2003, and one of my trainees, again, when I used to conduct training for process, he
Mhm.
recommended that book to me. It's called It Only Takes a Minute to Change Your Life by Willie Jolly. So Willie Jolly again is an American author. Trust you me, it's a very simple book. Okay,
Mhm.
you'll only take 1.5 hours to read through it. 100 or 115 pager book,
Mhm.
but the anecdotes, the examples that's quoted in that book, whenever again I feel low, I ensure
Mhm.
to read 2 to 3 pages in that book, and trust me, I get into that power.
Okay.
Certain books again in my life again that I've read, as I talked about power of subconscious mind, and one of the books
Yeah.
that I'm reading, that it's only a small stuff, so you don't need to
Mhm.
think about small stuff. So there are like
Mhm.
things again that I keep on reading. I'm totally a fan of like motivational books or maybe biographies that gives you a message. You at least, and that's my, I would say, my personal agenda too, to get more vocab, to get
Yeah.
more details or anecdotes to talk about, because when you're at a
Yeah.
position, you're speaking to people, you're dealing with young generation, you're dealing with like the people of your age, you need to have that vocab, you need to have those stories. And today again, the trend word or the trend is get into that storytelling mode. If you don't know the stories, how would you communicate? So that's
Yeah.
the best thing to do. You get lots of stories, lots of anecdotes to quote. So that's
Mhm.
where again I have my personal vendetta around that, that I need to read more and more books, get more stories, and just communicate it to everyone.
Yeah, yeah. That's so true. And I will echo with every word on book reading that you just said. Because when I started reading, I was not a fan of reading initially, but when I understood the importance of it, I take a lot of time to finish the book because my agenda is something else. I don't
True.
want to finish it. I just want to understand every line, pick up the words that I can use in my regular conversation, pronounce it well. And so, there's one thing that I always tell people who are working on their communication, that when you read every sentence, read it out aloud and open your mouth and speak. It enhances how you communicate with people. It gives you a better way of articulation. And I just love that because that has helped me so much with my communication. So, yeah, that is another tip for people who are aspiring to become better communicators. So, you mentioned one book by Billy Jolly.
Yeah.
Could you tell me that name once again?
Yeah. It only takes a minute to change your life
Ah, okay. It only takes a
by
minute.
Billy Jolly.
I'm going to buy that book.
Sure.
Thank you so much for sharing it. So, if you could go back and speak to your younger self, at the start of your career, at the start of your life, what advice would you give about handling fear, failure, or success?
Okay. The message again that I'll give to myself again, going back so many years in past, is that one, take a chance. So many a times again, as you said, that when I started my career or maybe picking up the opportunities, I was like shying away, maybe trying a new thing. But to everyone again, at this moment in time, if you're starting your career, you are again getting into a job, first again start speaking up. If you don't know how to speak, it's okay. Everyone is not perfect, but just work towards that. And second thing, start taking chances. There would be opportunities that would be coming your way. Don't lose it, because if you lose it, you'll never get it. So at the end, and there are like point in times where lots of opportunities which today I regret about, which I would have taken, the course of life would have been different. But I said that I'm content today. I'm happy. Because if I regret about it today, I'll not be happy again going forward or in future. But start taking chances, take risks. It's okay. People would always talk about you. People would always laugh. People would always maybe have a moment, okay, on your cost. But it's okay. Give them the chance. If again, at least again think about the thing, you're giving them the chance to laugh. You're giving them chance to again be happy about. So it's okay. Let them. again be in their zone, but you create your own zone. Don't lose yourself because of what people would think, what people would say. People need again things. Even point in time, many a times we don't realize that even we are part of that people. When we look at someone and we are maybe talking about it, so it's okay. It may be again just the change of roles, but just forget it. Don't even think that someone exists. It's you who's important. So make your existence felt every time you are part of a group. You're again sitting somewhere. You're talking about anything. It's okay. Things would fall in place. Just don't go by that fear of unknown, and that's what again I fear about, where people think about that this would happen, that would happen. Things would happen, boss. Nothing would stop. The world would
Yeah.
keep on rotating. You cannot stop it. So it's better you work on yourself, you just focus on what you want to do, and have your right planning and prioritization in place, would be my message to my young self. Nothing about savings and all, but it's okay, because many a times when I've read the books and I have like some of the authors again who are my friends, they always talk about get into investment, get into saving. I'm like that, okay, get into a mode where you have some money, but first enjoy yourself. If you're not enjoying yourself, giving that space to yourself, giving that time to yourself, even if it's like spending a money, it's okay, but
Yeah.
have that calmness in your mind, then you'll be content every time what you're doing.
So true. So true. And next, I was about to ask you, is there any parting advice that you'd like to share with newcomers who are going to be joining the corporate? But I think you've already shared everything in your last answer, because this is all what anybody at any level should be doing. Do not shy away from whatever dreams you had. You're not reporting into anyone. So please don't do that. This is your life. You're the master, you're the owner. Just live the best you could, because that is what you'll remember. Create a life that you could relish, you could talk about proudly. So don't just let any such small things divert your life from what you want it to be.
And other thing, Kashira, again, just on the parting note, as you said, that
Sure.
one message to everyone, be it youngsters or at any person at any stage of their life. See, there are no freebies in the world. You need to put in the effort. Nobody would come and support you. Today, when we think about that, okay, I'll take help from someone, it can be momentarily. It can be a short time for which you'll be getting that help. At the end of the day, nobody would put that food on the table for you or your family. You are
Yeah.
responsible for it.
Yeah.
Sooner we realize that, sooner we'll create that self dependency, sooner we'll have that self realization. So that's a very important thing. And though again, initially I never understood it, but with a point in time, I realized that trust me, there are no free lunches in the world. Nobody would
True.
give you freebies. You need to put in the efforts, you'll get the results out of it. Nobody would come and support you. Don't rely on anyone. It's you who need to support yourself. So today, in a world
Absolutely.
of maybe, I would say those mental tensions or maybe anxieties or depressions of the world, please start believing in yourself. You'll avoid all those feelings. Don't
Yeah.
rely on anyone. See, people would come and go, but you exist today in the world. So that's the important thing, which is for the world and for you. So let's be
Yeah.
important.
Yeah. Absolutely. Let's be important. And just to add to that, I think I've seen people building on their dreams, on their plans, thinking that they'll take help from someone. And you know what I'm hinting towards? It's mostly towards the monetary things, okay? They
True.
think that, okay, oh, so whatever it is, I'll buy this, I'll buy that, I'll ask from some of the relatives. Please stop doing that. If you are somebody who's doing it, please stop doing it.
Oh
As
yes.
Ritesh was rightly pointed out, there's no free lunches. There's nothing free. Even if somebody else would do it out of, obligation, out of not saying or making you feel bad, but this is your responsibility to build your dreams on your own responsibility. Don't become a pressure or a burden on anybody else. Whatever you are eyeing for, if you can afford it, you've got the right to keep it. If you cannot, please don't add pressure on others' shoulders. So,
True.
on that note, we're going to conclude this wonderful episode. Thank you so very much, Ritesh Boss. It was amazing to learn so many insights from you, and knowing the fact that we connected after a decade, I think,
Mhm.
and we resonate on so many topics. So, I really loved that extension of me and all the thoughts that you were sharing. Thank you so much for all the inspirational, insightful conversation.
No, thank you very much, Kashira, again for giving me this opportunity. I really feel privileged to be part of such a good initiative that you carry today. So, thank you very much for having me here out on the show. Thank you very much.